So, I think the security considerations of Turkey is not just a myth used by the ultranationalists in Turkey. I mean, Turkey is in a region with a lot of ethnic and religious tensions stemming from its past. And the term genocide is an international law term with its various results. My question is, under this framework, what would be the possible results of the acceptance of genocide by Turkish Republic in terms of international law and especially in terms of international relations, especially considering that Armenia doesn't accept the current border with Turkey?
First of all, whether this security problem is a perception, is a serious problem, real problem, or is a syndrome, is out of the discussion. It's not important, because as long as a ruling group, a ruling party, a state considers that he is under threat, you should accept this as such. Like the Nazis considered Jews as a threat to the humanity. It is stupid to continue to discuss whether it's a real or not. So in that sense, whether Turkey really has a security problem in the region, 70 million Turks and 3 million Armenians, I don't want to go in that because it's not so important for us. The main problem is that a security concept which excludes the morality, a security concept which excludes the human rights abuses as such, cannot keep this country insecure. What I'm suggesting is we need a new security concept for Turkey which includes the facing history. It doesn't harm Turkish security if we discuss what happened in the past. Just the opposite, it creates more security for Turkey if Turkey openly discusses its own past. Regarding the international law and what could be the remedies or the result of this, there are one political answer to that question and the other is the legal answer. The legal answer is, actually there is no such a problem in international law or in between Turkey and Armenia. Turkey doesn't occupy today any Armenian territory. Ottoman Empire genocided, killed its own citizens. It happened within the Ottoman boundaries. And today, there is no territorial question as such, according to international law, between Armenia and Turkey. They both accept the international agreements, and this is used mostly by the nationalists of both parties, that they won't use this, they don't want to reconciliation between parties. So from the legal perspective, there is no land question or issues. On the other hand, there is a political answer to that question. Syria, have you ever been in Syria, Damascus? Went there. You can see the official maps of Syrian state. Syria is 10 million, and it includes the 1 provinces of today's Turkey. It is in official Syrian maps. Can you ever imagine an Armenian map, official state map, includes Kars and Ardahan? This could be a cause of a war, I think. And Syria is 10 million approximately. Turkey sees no problem to develop diplomatic relations with Syria. Sometimes there are problems, but in Iraq, they try to cooperate with each other. So, 2 million Armenians never, as a state, asked the territorial reparations. But on the other side, Syria officially claims this land belongs themselves, and Turkey has diplomatic relations with Syria. So, politically, certain groups in Turkey uses this issue as a political maneuver in their hand against any reconciliation efforts. I firmly believe that the ruling elite in Ankara also believes and knows that there is not such a danger, because 2 million, 3 million, this is smaller than the Kadıköy in a neighborhood in Istanbul. They cannot, if they want as a state claim territory, this is an open declaration for a war, and the question of territory can never be solved and have never been solved in human history on the table, mostly on the war, on the battle places. So I think this problem is only a made-up problem by the ruling groups in Ankara.
I think there's a underlying theme in your talk, which is to say there's a relationship between the kinds of historical discourses that are produced by people who write the history or people who talk about history, whether they're historians or not, and a legitimate constitution of sovereignty on the part of the state and the nation. I think, I wonder if you agree with such a statement. And if you agree, I'm wondering how you would put today the what we can call liberal historians in Turkey who, openly advocate for the kinds of responsibility that you talk about and other issues that relate to injustices that are made to minorities. And what kind of sovereignty that would be, if you think there's such an issue.
I understand. I didn't want to make an absolute principle, the sovereignty as such. I try to show what the difficulties is. I approach to that issue very pragmatic. If you look at the history of Balkan and Middle East, beginning with the 19th century, you will see that all massacres and killings, deportations, is a product of creation of new nation states in that region, in Balkan and in Anatolia. Because it was an empire, every different ethnic groups were living together, even in the same village sometimes, and the concept of nation state based on homogeneity, common ethnic identity, common history, and common experiences. And as a result of this policy, mostly when an ethnic nation group claimed a certain territory, they removed the others from that region. And where the borders should be drawn was a major problem and major cause of the wars. My take to that question today, if you really want to solve the problem without making the sovereignty problem obsolete or untouchable, very simple, don't touch the borders in the region. Don't try to redefine the borders. Make these borders meaningless, like the European did. France and Germany fought on Alsace-Lorraine more than 200 years. Today they forgot where the boundaries go. Make Mountain Ararat accessible for every Armenians, because it's sacred for them. Make this is doable in the region. You can make it, keep the borders there, but develop the political, economic integration in the region such as that the borders loses its meaning. Because for me, humans more important than the land. So this is